What's up, guys? Eric Oakley and Chris Clemens are back with you with DD Media. We're covering the Dynamic Disc Glass Blown Open presented by Latitude 64. This is the most covered disc golf event. We got Jomez, we got Smashbox, we got Gatekeeper Media out here. How you feeling, Chris?
Feeling great. Today's round, we're going to be watching some windy stuff going on, so I'm excited.
I am too. Let's get right to it. We got a great card today. Eagle McMahon, Chris Dickerson, Austin Hannum, and Jamie Espinoza. Jamie's a little more not well-known guy. He's a pro discus guy. I think he was out of South Dakota, and he moved down to Texas, and he is a quality golfer. Putting up a 7 down is solid.
Yeah, I've seen his name around a little bit, but I heard he's a lefty, so I'm kind of excited to watch him.
Absolutely. We're off on hole 1. You guys know this. It's a monster of a hole. Keep it in bounds, stay away from the screen, stay away from the road, and you should be able to navigate for a pretty simple par or birdie. So we'll see what these guys can do.
Yeah, the wind, I think for us it was kind of left to right, maybe a little tail, so people were getting some crushes on these drives, especially the righties.
I heard about an Anthony Barella eagle on this one.
I believe it.
I totally do. I did watch Germ throw a hyzer flip that stalled and went to Hammond Park. It was
Oh, boy.
awful. Chris trusting that overstable disc should slow down for him. And that's all you really need, especially in the conditions like today. You just need to be putting yourself in play and trusting that you're going to have an opportunity to, throw a good shot over the hill and be able to look at the basket.
Yeah, Austin got that flipped a little bit.
Wow.
He was trying to get the wind under it, get that carry. And he's going to be using the wind as a lefty and just have it carry him.
Great
That'll
play.
work. Yeah, on the second shot, you're just trying to throw it pretty straight and try to be in the middle of the fairway. Try to give yourself a nice, easy approach to the green for your birdie.
If anything, I feel like the second shot is the better shot to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
And we're seeing some pretty routine shots from these guys, just putting those hyzers out and letting them work back into the fairway. It's really solid.
Yeah, you can kind of see this shot. It's kind of blind. It's up over a hill, and so you just kind of, it helps to know your distances and do what you've practiced and just trust it, especially in this wind.
Austin going a little more aggressive, being at the top of the hill, and he catches that tree. Falls in bounds. He still has a pretty solid opportunity to save his par and at least maybe even have a birdie look because he's really good
That's
at
a
this
great
game,
shot.
and he's going to get his birdie, I would think. And we're watching the robot do robot things. Chris Dickerson watching his game is really, really fun. So if you haven't gotten a chance to really see him play, he's methodical. He throws the disc well, all shots, and he just takes his time, and his routine on his putting, I think, is unrivaled.
He does the same thing kind of every single time, and that's what we all strive to do, but a lot of us forget to at times.
Absolutely. I think Eagle's abandoning his P2s to putt with his MD5 because this wind is not messing around. Starting
It's
with
like a pretty good
star
start.
frame.
Yeah. Yeah, this next hole, it's gonna be pretty tough. It's right into the teeth of a headwind, so I think Jamie will have an advantage, being able to throw a hyzer over the OB and come in. This hole's playing a lot tougher than it did last year, and your second shot's uphill. It's usually probably about 350 feet to 400 feet, and so it's a tough hole. It's a good par 4.
I was laughing at what I was seeing with some of the discs on this hole and a couple of the other ones we played with the wind. You saw players throwing great shots, and it did not matter. It was reading the wind kind of actually might have done you wrong in a lot of ways. All you had to do was step up, throw with all the confidence in the world, and if it didn't work out, then you just had to roll with the punches.
That right there, I mean, I'm sure that was a Nuke OS or a Force, something really overstable, and he just kind of flipped it a little bit, and it just never had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of the play that you want as a lefty.
What a shot.
Yeah, it's well done. Yeah, on this hole, I was throwing a Warhorse, so it gives you kind of an idea of how strong this wind was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going pretty straight, actually.
It's a great recovery from Austin. Being OB off that, he's definitely par is out of the question from that far back. And that'll play. I mean, this as you said, this second shot going uphill, and with all that added wind, it is so tough to get a really good read on what you need to be doing because you can't feel all that wind at the top.
I think that might be OB. So what happened to his disc, like he threw it on a hyzer and he exposed the bottom of the disc to the headwind, and so it just kind of carried it on that hyzer.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to keep the disc flat in a headwind. So this one's going to carry quite a bit too, but he's throwing kind of a slower disc, so he played it perfectly.
That's so well done from Austin, especially with the OB off the tee, to just give himself a good opportunity to get up and down.
You see how low Chris kept it there. That's really the goal of today, is to kind of keep discs under the wind, keep it flat. Because you can throw overstable stuff, but if you don't get it flat, it's not going to work out.
No, it's not. It's a good play from Eagle. Good play from Jamie.
It's a tailwind putt. I think you'd rather have a 25-foot tailwind putt than a 15-foot headwind putt in this wind today.
Absolutely. You can see these baskets, they're shaking in the wind. So that extra focus is incredibly important. You have to be locked in, give your disc a good release on these putts to give yourself the best opportunity, because I mean, we made the joke that anything outside of 15 feet felt like circle 2 today.
Yeah, especially when the wind's blowing and you make a 15-footer, it feels like you really did something right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's 4 par or bogey.
Yeah. Hole 3 is also into the teeth. As we can see the wind is going to be howling in your face, downhill, OB everywhere, and these players are going to just be looking to probably get up and down. I doubt there were many twos on this hole, and this is the wind taking over.
I think that's OB right there. It's a really tough shot, but I imagine most people are going to be going kind of that wide route, take something overstable, just because going straight at the bucket or even the righty hyzer over the OB, that's just scary. You just don't even do it. Let's see if this comes out. Yeah,
Got
that's
slammed
fine.
down for him. That's a.
This hole is probably almost playing like a par 4 today.
Yeah, I think the hole averaged 0.63 strokes over par on the day. So this was one of the harder par 3s on the day. There weren't many holes that played under par. The course averaged about 9 strokes over par, which is nuts.
Yeah, I was talking to Colton Montgomery on like hole 17, and he asked me, he's like, how many strokes do you think this course is averaging over par? And I was like, well, I think the first day it was like 3 strokes over par.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess 8. And he was like 9. And I was like, no way.
He nailed it. That is impressive. Fighting that wind, pushing the hyzer angle, just letting the wind kind of just hold it down.
Yeah.
And not let it go anywhere else, so he could throw a little more to the basket.
It was interesting because our drive, it was very windy on this hole, but once we got down onto the green, it didn't feel like there was a lot of wind, and then it doesn't look like there's a lot of wind here.
Stick commercial from Dynamic Discs. If you're looking to get some awesome stuff, check out dynamicdisc.com for the best stuff in disc golf. Hole 4 was playing very, very tough because the wind was pushing in a way that wanted to pull your disc OB left. But if you actually kind of played it under the wind, it almost would hold it over to the right. It was
kind of
really,
like Chris
really
is doing
nuts.
right here.
Like that barely gets back in bounds. That's that green disc that Chris has been leaning on this whole round so far, and it's been monstrously overstable. And here it just was not about to have it.
I think he's just trying to fight the wind and throw into a tree. It looked like a good shot. Oh,
Man,
no.
it hits the tree, falls OB. That's a tough break for Jamie.
I kind of debated that too on this hole. You know, the forehand, 400 feet in the headwind it's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm. I watched Zach Melton just lay this hole up. He took a Lucid X Moonshine Felon and just laid it up, and then threw a harp up and got his 3. Eagle threw a Metal Flake Max, so that is one of the most overstable discs, and he crunched it, and it didn't even get close to the basket. And Austin finds a way through the sea of trees to find OB. That's a tough break for him.
Yeah, that's the problem with this, because you're kind of raised up, and what most people do is they kind of throw a big hyzer into the basket. And if you do that in this headwind, if it doesn't flip straight, it's probably going to go OB left. It's just going to get carried over there. So it's a really tough shot to throw. Eagles got to look at 2 here. Ooh.
Wow, that's a
good
great putt. Austin missing back-to-back short ones in this wind. It can be incredibly rattling as you're on these putts, that every time you have something that's in that 20 to 25 foot range, you're looking at it like, I've made this putt 1,000 times, but in these conditions, everything goes out the window, because one minor mistake just throws the disc in any direction.
Yeah. And even if you don't make a mistake, sometimes the wind just takes it. There's nothing you can do. Here's hole 5. It's a par 4, 666 feet. I really enjoy this hole. It's tough. The tee shot is kind of intimidating. And then the second shot, it's really easy to skip out of bounds, whether you go left or right.
Mm-hmm. I actually watched Jeremy Colling throw this shot yesterday, and it completely changed my mind on what I wanted to do, because this is a kind of ripping tailwind.
Yeah.
So it's easy for a right-handed player to throw this shot OB left if you don't get a little bit of flip up, because the discs were just carrying. But it was easy to control and put yourself in play with that sidearm if you have a bigger sidearm. And this lefty shot will look very similar.
He likes throwing those big hyzers. Come on,
get back in. Do it for him.
Dang. I feel like, especially on this hole, I know personally, like, you throw out there and you expect some big skips, but it just kind of digs sometimes.
It was weird. I felt in practice this fairway was providing those skips that we're naturally used to, but every single thing I've seen in tournament play has been very slow.
That's a good shot.
And it could be from, we got a little bit of rain, and that could be just all it was, that the ground softened up and is not allowing for that dry, hard pack skip.
This is a good play. This is kind of how you play the hole right here.
Wow.
You just kind of got to go under that tree along the cart path and just trust your disc. And it helps if you can throw something kind of slower.
Absolutely. Sit
down
for him.
That's a fast disc, and so you see how it skipped a little bit and rolled.
And this is what I think you would have seen from just about every single card. We see our players throwing good shots. They're not playing bad golf, but the mistakes that they're making aren't totally their fault. And this is what this wind does. If you've ever played in this type of windy conditions, we're talking 25 mile an hour constant winds with gusts into probably the high 30s.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to throw all physics and thought out the door. You just have to go out, throw the disc the best you can. You can control the first couple inches and let it go from there.
Yeah. Eagle made that hole look pretty easy. He's playing well.
Yeah, it is.
Got hole 6 here. It's a par 3, 343 feet. Today, I feel like this played with a pretty big tailwind. So, I think it kind of made the hole a little harder, you know, because it could smash your disc down into that OB short, or it could even push you OB long. So,
and this hole was one of a couple holes that actually played under par on the day. You know,
That was perfect.
players just were able to attack this hole. It does play difficult in that tailwind, but if you have discs that you can trust, that you can just hammer out up there and trust that they're going to work and give yourself a look, you know, that's all you need. This is, you know, seeing 2 great drives inside the circle. I feel like this hole is kind of difficult to navigate for a left-handed player, but I played with Jeremy Cullen, who's got one of the best sidearms, and he threw a sidearm
Threw a
this
sidearm?
hole and got it. He was
Yeah.
absolutely parked. It's just impressive to see, you know, when people play their strengths and let it work. Oh, let's go,
Ooh, hit the
Austin.
pole. That's a nice shot. I have a headwind putt though, and that's not easy.
I think there's some monkeys in those trees waving those branches around or something.
Ooh. Yeah, that's what can happen in this wind. If you let one get away from you, you can go from having a birdie putt to a bogey putt real quick.
And you're only 20 feet out.
Yep.
It's nuts.
That's a good putt.
We would really hope that Chris would actually put on some shorts, but, you know, we'll discuss that with him later. I know that was dumb. Roast me.
Yeah. Jamie took a 4 there. It was tough. He was playing pretty tough today. Got hole 7. It's a par 4, 669 feet. They have the new tee box this year. It's kind of a low ceiling, kind of a nice change out here. The wind today, I think it was a right to left headwind, or maybe more right to left. And it was playing pretty tough. I saw a lot of righties taking a big hyzer out there, which is kind of a good play. Maybe it's one of the only plays. It looks like Eagle might do that here.
He's switching up to his Metal Flake Max. It's monstrously overstable, and he's just crunching it out there.
Yeah, and so the whole flight of that disc is over OB. So if he doesn't come back in, he's
Going to the
probably
drop
not
zone.
very happy.
No. Chris doesn't care. He's throwing up the gut. Now, this is what happens when you throw up the gut,
Yeah.
because that wind is
It's gotta
pushing
sit.
so hard. Sit for him.
Ooh.
We'll see how that looks, because that looked like a great play.
Yeah, you have to get it to flat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
And
even a little
still.
bit of Annie. Because
You
that
don't
wind
want
is
that
just
Annie
going
to push
it.
you into the headwind, or push into the wind and
Yeah.
dive it down. See, Austin throws a great shot and just gets no love.
Yeah, I felt like this hole was playing pretty well
Work
today
for
for a
him, get
lefty.
past it.
You can
Let's
kind of
go.
use the wind to your advantage. So maybe some forehand players through that same line.
And I can see it there. The wind's not letting it get to the OB right.
Eagle's trying to play that wind, and it just never really pushes disc down. He's still got a long putt though.
It was impressive. If you were throwing a forehand or a left-handed shot, you could throw directly at the basket on a hyzer, and it wasn't moving that far.
Yeah.
Laterally. With this wind and the uphill play, you would imagine the disc, if you threw it on a hyzer at the middle of the basket, that it would end up 50 right, but you weren't. It was, super parked.
Yeah, you could see how he put a little Annie on that, and so the wind got under it and just kind of
Held on to it.
Yep. So he's got the forehand here. That's a good approach for this wind. Looks like he played it very well.
Even those putts, like he just left himself probably a 15-footer. He's gonna have to work for it. Oh my lord, that was a great bit.
Yeah, it was. This just looks like it's straight into a headwind. Oh no.
Just trying to give it a little float. Let her work for it. Eagle not messing around.
Yeah, I'll take his par.
Par's a good score. Good comeback from Jamie.
Yeah, that was a good putt.
Oskin's going to clean up his bogey here, which is it's a bummer. But that OB drive, he pushed way up there and gave himself an opportunity for the par.
All right. We got hole 8 here.
Oh, my.
It's par 5, 990 feet. This thing was playing like a monster today.
Mm-hmm.
The wind was right to left on it. It's a new pin, new hole. It was just playing super duper tough. It even played really tough when there was no wind on the first day. So I think we're going to be in for a ride here.
Absolutely. Eagle's not letting off the gas. He's earned some strokes already, so he knows he can kind of play a little more aggressive and trust his stuff. And that is
perfect.
Impressive.
That's amazing. And the thing is, if he throws it far enough and it goes OB left, he's taking it up there, and he can still get a par.
Absolutely.
And a par on this hole today is great.
This one comes out a little early for Chris. Stay short. Man, he was that was a slower disc, so he was playing the layup.
Oh yeah, the wind's left to right. I'm sorry.
There was a headwind too.
Yeah.
Jamie just rips this thing, and that thing was just getting tossed around by the wind.
That's got to get left.
Stay up.
The wind's just kind of holding it out there. It might be good though.
Get back. I mean, he's by that big tree, which is so far up there, and he has to come all the way back and throw another shot. Get in.
Ooh.
That's some love.
Just like you
Give
playing
back
it
to
right
him.
there.
Yeah. Jamie throwing this to the middle of the pond, and watch this go.
Oh, wow.
What is he supposed to do?
Yeah, that's such a hard shot. The wind's blowing so hard. He could either, throw a little forehand 200 feet to be safe. That's the only real safe shot there.
Mm-hmm. Chris throwing a good line here. If he stays off these trees, that's great. Especially after the OB drive, he's given himself an opportunity to have a chance to save par on this one. I heard there were rumors of a James Conrad eagle putt in this wind.
Oh God,
Not surprised.
Yeah, he throws some pretty overstable discs, but he throws really low flex lines. So I feel like it's pretty good for this hole
Staying
and for
under
the
the
wind.
wind.
Yeah.
Sit down. Good
It's a
play
good
from
shot.
Austin.
Yeah, this hole was playing well over par today.
Mm-hmm. Good play, Jamie.
I know for a fact that I saw a 10 personally. I know there was a 14 on this
I heard
hole.
there was a 16.
Yeah, and so it was.
I was up in Minnesota building a snowman. So
Yeah.
it was not fun.
Yeah.
There were 154 OB strokes on this
Wow.
hole.
That's
There are
crazy.
140 players in this.
That's nuts.
So some of us did some extra work for
Yeah.
to get pad them stats.
I know. I threw OB once. I got my work in there.
Eagle just gonna have a pretty routine look for par, which is awesome from there. Or is he birdieing?
I think that might be for birdie.
Yeah, I lost count.
Austin having trouble putting. It's tough
was a
because
birdie.
the wind probably wasn't blowing too hard on that putt, but he's already missed a couple and had a couple. The wind just take him, so his confidence probably isn't quite there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of tough to come back from sometimes.
Absolutely. Now on to hole 9. another really, really difficult hole. So that stretch of 7, 8, 9 is there. We're going to see if our players can navigate, put some shots in bounds with this wind that's pushing from right to left, which made it really, really difficult to land or drive and not have it skip over the cart path on the left.
Yeah.
And then navigating to this green with a screaming headwind is no joke. OB everywhere. Eagle, I believe this is a putter. It is a P3X. Gets over. That's
well
a very
played.
smart play. I was thinking the same thing, and I got a weird wind bounce, and it's a really smart shot because in this wind, I think birdie's out of the option. I think there was a couple on the day, which is impressive for those players. I think Tristan Tanner, Latitude 64 player, might have gotten a 3. He throws the disc very well, so that's a good confidence builder for him. Stay good. Man,
I think that might be in. It kind of, there's a little bit of room over there.
Mm-hmm.
Not much, but there's a little.
I know there's a lot of people who are out here talking, and I don't know if that one might be in. He is in bounds.
Wow.
There's a lot of talk of what this hole could be. I think it's in a place where it's incredibly difficult. It's forcing our players to throw incredible shots the whole time. But, maybe allowing this to be one of the holes that doesn't have artificial OB.
Right.
And we make use of the natural OB that's on that right side.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
You go with the slip.
Or maybe keep the OB on the left and take out the OB in the woods on the right.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in there, you're kind of battling. So, but
Jamie is in bounds. Yeah, I agree with you there. With
we might have a look at
get up there.
3 here. Oh yeah,
great play. And this is the beauty of the Glass Blown Open. We've seen these holes change.
It's a great shot by Austin.
Yeah, we've seen these holes change year to year because they're wanting to challenge us as players. They're wanting to force us to throw continuous good shots, and I think that's been a big testament to what's going on. And hopefully, if we provide good feedback to Eric and Doug, that this tournament, this course will only become one of the top in the world.
Yeah, I think most good courses they have that USDGC. I mean, there's a couple courses they change a couple of the holes every year, and so they keep a lot of the iconic holes. So that's it for the front 9. We got Eagle at 11 under, Chris Dickerson at 9 under, Austin Hannum at 2 under, and Jamie Espinoza at 4 under. These guys seem to be battling the wind pretty well.
Mm-hmm. They're doing really, really well. So if you want to catch the back 9, stay tuned. Make sure you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel, and be dynamic.